Hey, here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, who have we got here? We've got Bill and Mrs. Bill.
Bill, Amy, and our daughter Sydney.
Hi.
Hey, Sydney. I'm in Sydney as well. Lucky. but they named a city after you. Isn't that great? How old are you, Sydney?
Tell them how old you are.
8.
8. Okay, almost a grown up.
Almost, right?
Yeah.
And tell them
So where are you guys calling? Where are you guys calling from?
You're older.
Australia.
She wants to go.
It's the future. I'm calling for the future.
Yeah.
We have flying cars. We've got talking robots. It's fantastic.
Look what's
Sleepy.
in the corner.
Yeah,
Sleepy koalas.
We're in Central Florida.
In Florida, okay.
Yep.
You got plenty of alligators down there.
Yep.
Yes.
Lightning strikes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, guys, look, my name's Steve. Thank you for joining me here at Kangaroos and Koalas 101. I've been tour guiding here for the last 25 years and run my own tour company, Runaway Tours, until COVID struck last year. And normally this place we're at is called Sydney Featherdale Wildlife Park. This place would normally be overrun with lots of American cruise ship people and Chinese and Korean tourists, but today, just a few families and small children around the place. It's pretty quiet today, which is good for you guys. Not so great for the park, but it's a beautiful place. There's over 2,000 native Australian animals here. So they're all looking pretty happy at the moment. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to take you and show you all about the koalas, the kangaroos, the wombats, the Tasmanian Devils, the echidnas, the crocodiles. And if you have any questions during the session, just feel free to ask me during the session.
Okay.
Now, you probably know about the features of the app. You've got a little button, a little square at the bottom of your screen, and if you click on that square, that can take photographs during the session.
Okay.
There's also, if you move your mouse and click on the screen, I can move the camera to wherever you want me to get some better photographs.
Okay.
And the bottom right-hand corner, there's 4 little buttons there, and the left-hand button is actually an external speaker. So if you wanted to talk to a keeper or one of the passing kangaroos, just click on that speaker and you can have a chat to them.
Cool.
Sounds easy?
Yep.
So before we go further, I'd just like to acknowledge the Darug people. They're the traditional custodians of the land that I'm standing on right now. It's been Aboriginal land for 65,000 years. Just like to pay my respects to the Aboriginal elders of the Eora Nation, past, present and emerging. They play a very unique role in the life of this region. Alrighty guys, we've got a very active Monty the Koala right behind me here. So he's actually doing something which is quite unusual. He's normally having fast asleep. He's actually looking pretty cute right now. So Monty's about 7 years old. He's a male. Can you see he's got that little brown patch in the middle of his chest there? Well, he's just covered it up. Oh, there we go. He's hiding that.
I saw it.
What was that, Sydney?
I saw it.
She saw it.
You saw it, okay, wonderful. All right. Now this guy here, he's what's called a northern koala. He comes from the north part of Australia, and he's about maybe 20 pounds or so, and they have lighter grey fur. Now he's got a friend just next door called Victor, and Victor is a southern koala, and he's a bit heavier. Let's see, there he is. He's right there. You can see his brown scent gland as well. So you can see he's got bigger ears. He's got a bigger body. He's about 35 pounds, and darker brownish fur. So he's from the south part of Australia because it's a bit cooler down this section here. A bit like Florida versus New Jersey or somewhere. Now, that's I was saying before about the scent gland. If you look in the middle of his chest, it's got that brown scent gland, and that's the males have that, and it's basically to mark their territory. So they'll go up to a tree and rub themselves up against the tree and secrete the scent, and that basically tells all of the koalas to steer clear, keep well away. Here you have typical koalas doing typical koala stuff, which is nothing. They've got a very good cartilage on their backside, so they can sit perched in those trees all day and all night without falling over. If they're perched like that, that's good. What happens, you might sometimes see images of koalas actually clutching onto a tree instead of tree hugging, if you like. What they do, actually, they're trying to regulate their temperature. They're trying to cool themselves down. So when they hug the tree, that means they can cool down on very hot days. But normally they just sort of sit back and just that guy's just doing, he's praying to the tree god. He's just relaxing, taking it easy. Now guys, when the explorers came out here to Australia back in the 1800s, They took one look at these cute little critters and went, oh, they look just like teddy bears. So they called them a koala bear. But of course they're not a bear, they're what's called a marsupial. And that means they have a marsupium. And the marsupium is the pouch, where the young joey sits inside. Now,
he's hungry.
this little guy, I think this guy's Jack. Any young marsupial is called a joey. So you have a joey koala, a joey wombat, a joey tribbiani. How do you do it? Joey possum. Yeah. So I was saying before about the scent gland. So the male has the scent gland. He rubs himself up against a tree, marking his territory off. And when it comes to mating season, the male has a very distinctive call. Now, Sydney, do you have any guesses what kind of sound the male might make when it comes to attracting the ladies?
What do you think?
What noise do you think they make? Any idea?
No, she's
no
not
idea?
Sure. No idea. Oh. Look at that. There it is. Getting the ladies.
Yep.
So, how romantic is that? So what happens when the male makes that grunting noise? We call it a bellow. Sorry, we call it a bellow. So he does his bellowing, and that basically tells the females to lock up your daughters, that he's out on the rantan. He then goes off, he finds the nearest female, and he has his wicked way with the lady. And then, in typical Australian male fashion, he heads off to the pub, and the female gets to bring up the young all by herself. So it's a pretty good deal for the guy, not so great for the ladies. But yeah, look, the koalas are they're solitary creatures. They tend to hang out in the trees by themselves. They're very unsocial creatures, very introverted. Now the female, she'll bring up the young all by herself. This guy's he's doing his own stunts. There you go, he's going to walk along the. What's he up to?
Like a balance beam.
He's going to look. Yeah, he's trying. What's he going to do? He's going to push that one out of the tree, baby. I'm not sure what's going on here. But you're lucky to see action because I don't want to do much during the day. No, he's just changed position. Oh, he's going to jump. No, don't do it. No. Okay. Oh, lovely. He's just just relieving himself. There you go. A bit of trivia here for you, Sydney. When the koalas actually do a poo, if koala poo lands on you, that's okay because the koala poo will just rub off. However, if the koala pees on you, that's not so great because it's like eucalyptus oil and it can stain your shirt or your jeans and stain your arms as well. So the message for today is to make sure you get pooed on by koala and not peed on by koala.
Remember that. Right?
Don't forget.
Bit of trivia for you. Now, guys, the female, she'll bring up the young joey inside her pouch. And when it's inside the pouch, it'll stay there for about 6 months living on mother's milk. And then after a while, the mum starts feeding her what's called pap, P-A-P, which is essentially her squishy poo. It's chewed up gum leaves. So what happens is the joey transitions from drinking mother's milk to actually chewing on gum leaves. So that pap is very important, but it's quite messy and sticky. But so it's not bad. But that's a life cycle of a koala. These guys eat about 1 to 2 pounds of eucalyptus leaves every night. The word koala is actually an Aboriginal word which means no water, because they get all their moisture from the gum leaves. They don't need to come down to the rivers and streams. But the gum leaves are toxic. They're poisonous. Koala has a very special digestive system, which enables them to digest all these toxins and poisons. But what happens? It takes him 20 hours to get through this stuff. So what does he do in the meantime? Siesta. What a great gig. So when I get reincarnated, koala please.
That's funny.
How long do they live? Like, what's the average age span of a koala?
In the wild, they can live up to about 10 years, but in captivity, about 15 years. They get better health care. They've got Obamacare. They have all kinds of good veterinary services here. So it's a much better system for the koalas living in captivity. They're not getting attacked by predators and dogs and that sort of thing. So one of the main issues we have at the moment is with habitat loss.
Right.
So we had the big bushfires about almost 2 years ago now.
Remember that, yeah.
We lost about Yeah, we lost 3 billion mammals across Australia, and about 50,000 koalas were killed during those devastating bushfires. Habitat loss, we only have about 40 to 80,000 koalas left in Australia, so they're under, not the threatened species, but they're under the watch list at this stage. That's it's pretty bad for the koala, so hopefully get up to see them at some stage.
Are those all
Hey, guys.
are those all rescued koalas? Are those like all ones that you guys have taken in as rescues or something?
They breed them here in the park. So what they do is
okay.
they breed them with other parks in the neighbourhood. But
Okay.
all the koalas here are native to this particular park. So
Gotcha.
they kept here. Guys, we're just going to move on. I've just arrived over at the wallaby section. So these little fellas here are called
Aw.
wallabies.
Those are cute.
Cute and tasty. Yeah. These guys get to about 2 or 3 feet in height. These are called tamer wallabies, or possibly redneck wallabies actually. And they've got the red necks, and they've got smaller limbs than a kangaroo. They're like a mini-me version of a kangaroo. They get to about just 2 or 3 feet in height. Now, we have 4 codes of football out here in Australia. We have Aussie rules, we have rugby union, rugby league, and soccer. Oh, look, the kangaroos are fighting again. They were fighting this morning. Look, this is great. Look, they hide behind the tree. So the kangaroos just started fighting again. They fought the last session as well. It was quite funny. Now we have our Australian Wallabies. So our national rugby union team are called the Australian Wallabies. Now most national teams around the world are called the Cheetahs or the Giants or the Pumas. Yeah, we say the Australian Wallabies. It strikes fear into the heart of our enemies. Those cute little adorable creatures. So these guys here are what's called Eastern Grey Kangaroos. And usually they come over to me because they think I'm going to feed them, and they would be wrong. Come over, everyone.
They're looking for it.
Yeah, here we go. She's going to try
Aw.
and... Hello. Oh, she does like a scratch though. There we go. Oh, you look at them. Oh, you like our dogs. Now these guys get to about 5 or 6 feet in height. They can weigh up to 160 pounds. And we are one of the few countries in the world that actually eats its own national animal. So we actually do eat kangaroo out here in Australia. It's a very gamey kind of meat. It's a bit like rabbit or venison. So most Australians don't like eating their own national animal.
I never knew that.
The other thing about the kangaroo and also our emu, there are 2 national animals, is that they physically can't walk backwards. They can only walk. Oh, hang on, she's just about to jump the fence. Looks like she's about to jump the fence now. She's going, whoop, what's she doing? Here she goes. She can't make her mind up. What are you doing? No. She can see the pigeons in the background. She wants to eat a pigeon, I think. I'll keep moving. I want to show you one other kangaroo here, guys. This big boy over here is called a big red kangaroo because they're big and they're red. And that's pretty much how we have our naming convention here in Australia. What you see is what you get.
Wow.
Have a look at that face. Have a look at that face, Sydney. That is a face only a mother could love. Yeah. Scary. These guys are called big reds. They get to 7 feet in height. They can weigh up to 200 pounds and reach speeds of 45 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now, did you see the kangaroos actually boxing before? Did you actually catch that, or were they hiding behind the tree?
We saw a little bit, yeah.
Right. So kangaroos do boxing to fight for dominance, to become chief of the mob. So what they do, they're very strong front little paws. They start boxing each other like a Rocky Balboa, and they then lean back on those tails, and they've got very powerful hind legs that can try and kick and claw at each other to try and rip each other's guts out, or disembowel each other. But when they're fighting, they don't fight to the death. It's just a subservient thing. So they'll fight until one of the kangaroos gets down on the ground and says, "Stop kicking me, I've had enough of this crap." And the other kangaroo will jump around, "I'm the man, and he'll become chief of the mob.
Wow.
Now humans have been attacked by kangaroos. And what happens is that humans will walk upright to a big red male kangaroo. And these big red male kangaroos aren't known for their intelligence. They think you're after their women.
So watch
As any
out.
Aussie bloke knows, nobody goes after you without a fight. So these kangaroos have attacked and even killed humans.
Wow.
So the next time you're being monstered by a 7-foot big red kangaroo, just get down on the ground and say, Stop kicking me, Steve said, are you okay? And, hopefully he won't rip your head off. Now, you guys, you're in for a treat. The Wombat is out. I've only seen her out twice in the last 3 months, so you're actually very lucky to see her actually moving.
Wow.
She's normally hiding in her burrow, so you see her waddling along. She is a big beastie. She can weigh up to 70 pounds each. 70 pounds each. And even truck drivers don't like running over wombats because they do a lot of damage to the vehicle.
Okay.
Now, these guys have got very sharp claws. They burrow into the side of hillsides, about 100 feet in the hillsides. Their closest relative is actually a koala. And again, she is a marsupial, so she has a marsupium pouch. Now, Mother Nature, Sydney, have a guess. So these guys got a pouch. Which way do you think the pouch is facing? Do you think the pouch is facing forwards or facing backwards?
Take a guess.
Forward?
Forward?
No. Because if it faced forwards, then all day long that beastie would be collecting cigarette butts and Coca-Cola cans. So Mother Nature has made it so her pouch faces backwards. So very clever, Mother Nature.
Interesting.
Yeah, now I had a guy on my bus a few years ago, and he was telling me that up in Queensland, tourists will hire cars, and they go driving through the outback, and they don't quite understand about wombat technology. And they simply drive over the top of these wombats, and the wombat will rip the sump out of the engine, and the wombat gets up and goes, "Oh God, that hurts," and then carries on walking down the street. So that's how tough wombats are.
Guess
People
so.
don't mess with them.
No.
I was down in the snowy mountains a few years ago going skiing, and one of these creatures walked right beside my car, and it was bigger than my wheel arch. They were huge, massive, massive things. So you don't want to run over a wombat at all. Now, hey guys, I'm about to show you one of the most terrifying creatures in the whole of the park here. So I hope you're all sitting comfortably. It's Sydney. You calm person, not too anxious, because these creatures are pretty dangerous. Okay, so you ready for this? All right. Oh my God, look at those. Terrifying.
Oh, look at those.
These guys are the most dangerous
They're pretty
creatures in the whole
scary.
park.
Yeah.
Oops. Peace. Do you know what they're called, Sydney?
What are they called? No?
These guys they're called little penguins.
Oh.
They are part of the penguin species, and they are the smallest penguin in the world. We have 17 different types. This guy is the littlest. So he's only about 12 or 13 inches in height. Oh, some scary ones over here. Look at them. I think they're about to launch themselves at the camera. They can smell your fear.
Watch out.
Yeah. They get to about 12 or 13 inches in height, weigh about 2 or 3 pounds. And these guys, they live on fish and squid. So Sydney, you're lucky you're not here right now because they smell of fish and squid. They're a bit stinky. And they've got that beautiful blue and white colouring. And when they're being if the sea eagle is flying overhead, they look down and they just see the blue of the water. And if a shark or a seal is coming in from below them, they look up, they see their white underbelly, and they think it's just the sunlight coming through. So pretty good inbuilt camouflage. You can see their burrows in the rocks there. That's where their nests, their burrows are up there.
Oh yeah, look
And
at him. Yeah,
Yeah.
there he is.
if you guys come to Australia, you need to go down to Melbourne, and there's a place there called Phillip Island, and every night at sunset, a couple of thousand of these little guys come out of the water. Now, when they come out of the water, that's the most dangerous time because predators can attack them when they're on the beach. So they do something called rafting, where they almost sort of join flippers and come out, and a big body of them, like hundreds at a time, will come in one big mass, and they waddle across the beach, and they go up to their burrows, and that's where the tour coaches and all the grandstands are, and you can sit in the grandstand and watch these guys heading towards their burrows. And that is called the Penguin Parade. So next time you're in Australia, one of the top 5 things to do in Australia is the Fairy Penguin Parade or Little Penguin Parade. We get them here in Australia, we get them down in Chile and over in New Zealand as well. So, yeah. Now, what kind of terrifying creatures do you guys have in Florida? You got real estate agents or car salesmen or what? Politicians?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All the above?
Yeah.
Exactly. We have an alligator that lives in our neighborhood. We also get a lot of snakes. We do get a lot of snakes down here too. So.
Oh, really? Rattlesnakes or diamonds or?
There are
What's the diamondback?
diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's diamondbacks. But in our neighborhood, we get the large black racers. They're not poisonous, but they can get like 4 or 5 feet long, like pretty good length. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. All right, guys. We have come to one of the most dangerous creatures in Australia. We've got about 10 minutes left. But we just arrived here at the Tasmanian Devils section.
Oh,
There
look
she
at
goes.
them. So they look.
She's doing a laps. Sydney, have you seen the Tassie Devil cartoon where the Tassie Devil runs around in circles?
Have you
I
ever
don't know
seen
if
that?
she's ever seen
I don't
that.
think so.
I don't know if she has.
Right, okay. They don't run around tight circles, they run around in loose circles like this. So these guys, they're solitary creatures. This is a female, and they can run up to 6 miles every night to look for food.
Wow, look at her.
So
go.
while they're in these smaller enclosures, they tend to run around just burning off all that excess energy, a bit like a 5-year-old kid. Now, these guys, they're the largest carnivorous marsupial in the world. So again, she has the marsupium. And the female can have up to 40 offspring. And the offspring, the zygotes, are about the size of a grain of rice. The problem is she only has 4 teats inside her pouch. So out of those 40, only 4 will survive. So the quickest will get up there. And the other 36, mum just goes and eats a lot of them. Delicious. Yeah. Bit of protein. Now, these guys, they live on roadkill. They live on kangaroos or dead wombats on the side of the road. And when they do have, sometimes they come together for feedings. There might be 2 or 3 of them trying to eat a kangaroo. And when they're eating, they can actually eat through skin, bone, teeth, everything. So they'll actually destroy a whole kangaroo or a wallaby overnight.
Wow.
When the first conflicts came out here to Australia in the 1700s, all night long they could hear this crunch, 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 crunch. And of course the noise these guys make is pretty much a... So all night long all they heard was crunch, 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 crunch. So they said, there's devils out there in the wilderness.
Oh,
So they became
yeah.
known as Tasmanian Devils. Now, my wife is from Tasmania, and every time I go, it scares the pants off of her as well. So I do that as often as possible. Keep her on her toes. Yeah, they've got an incredible jaw crunch. So that is the Tasmanian Devil. Now, until 1996, we had around 150,000 healthy Tasmanian devils in the wilderness. But then something came along called the devil facial tumour disease, which is basically a cancer which gives them tumours around their neck and throat, restricts their breathing, they end up starving to death. So quite a horrific way to go. So once again, one of our native animals is on the threatened species list. So we now have about 10 to 25,000 healthy Tasmanian devils left. Scientists have started breeding them put them on remote islands to try and breed that disease out. So that's the plight of the Tassie devil. So between the koala and Tassie devil, they're losing habitat loss, they're getting diseases. The koala gets afflicted by chlamydia, which makes them go blind and also rots them from the inside out. So the poor little guys are not having much luck with the diseases affecting them at the moment.
No, yeah.
You got any questions on the Tassie devil there, guys?
Sydney, you have any questions? No?
Okay.
No? Okay. Pretty cool though. She's not
Well,
getting tired though. She keeps running.
Yeah, she hasn't stopped running over there.
That's all she does, just runs around. I was here yesterday. I had to see her for about 3 hours, and she finally came out after about 3 hours, and she ran around the circle
Wow.
for the next 2 hours. But it's good she's here this morning. Hey guys, I'm just heading over. We've got 5 minutes left. I'm heading over to the crocodile section now.
Okay.
One of our tour guides, Les, he was on a coach a few years ago in the outback, and he looked out the window and he saw this emu. Emu was just standing stationary, and then looked up, saw the coach go past, and then started chasing, running right next to the coach as fast as he could. He thought that's very odd behaviour, and it wasn't until he got off the coach that he realised there was actually a photograph of a group of emus on the side of the coach. So obviously the other guy wanted a race. That's what happened.
That's funny.
Now, we just arrived at the crocodile enclosure, and I can't see the crocodile at the moment. So what happened, he wasn't here last week either. I think actually, he's there. I think he actually got out of the pen. He ate a couple of small children and then got back in the pen again. So, there he is, right.
No one knew he's gone.
Yeah. The world is a happier
Oh, look,
place.
Sydney, look.
There he is, right down there. This guy's called Max. He's what's called a saltwater crocodile. So you have salties and freshies, a freshwater crocodile. And the salties get to about 23 feet in length.
Whoa.
They can weigh over 2,000 pounds. And I'm just trying to get a better angle for you. It's a bit tricky, this angle right here. Now these guys, they're an apex predator. And they've been around for about 80 million years, a bit like my mother-in-law. They live on fish and also other birds like they come too close to the water as well. You've probably heard about how dangerous Australia is. We've got quite a dangerous place here. There's venomous snakes and spiders and jellyfish and everything can kill you out here in Australia. Well, the good news is that we only get about we have 25 million people here. Most people don't get killed from our native wildlife. Most people get killed in car accidents or in plane crashes or whatever, or COVID. But what happened is we get about 3 people die from bee stings every year in Australia, and about 1 person per year dies from a crocodile attack.
Wow.
Now, normally the 1 person that dies is either drunk or in the wrong place at the wrong time, or drunk in the wrong place at the wrong time.
There you go, yeah.
Natural selection at work. I was reading an article about this guy called Jason Green, and back in 2009, Jason was up in Darwin at the top part of Australia. He was looking for crocodile eggs. So he was sticking his hand down the crocodile nest and pulling out eggs with his mate, and Mama Crocodile came along, saw what was going on, took a bite out of Jason. Luckily, Jason's mate had a gun. Jason's mate busted a few caps at the crocodile, missed, got Jason through the elbow. So Jason got taken to hospital with bullet wounds and with crocodile wounds. So with friends like that.
Yeah.
But he survived, so he got a couple of days off work. So I guess that's some sort of compensation. Just bring it over. Oh, here he is. This guy's here today. That's just good. This is the Echidna. She's actually active this morning. That little guy there.
Oh, Sydney, look. Didn't we learn? We saw those on. We were watching a show and we saw those. Remember, Sydney?
Right. What do you know about echidnas?
I don't know a whole lot. What do you know, Sydney?
Do you remember what you learned? No.
Yeah, you forgot.
So these guys are an echidna, and these basically they're a spiny anteater, a porcupine, if you like. They've got that beautiful camouflage there, that brown and white, so they blend in with the background. If they get chased after by a predator, they'll dig themselves a small hole, stick their head down and their bum up, and then any animal chasing after them will get a mouthful of quills. So a bit of a good defense mechanism there. Now, the babies, the offspring of an echidna, is called a puggle. P-U-G-G-L-E, a puggle. Not a muggle, but a puggle. And these guys are what's called a monotreme. And a monotreme is basically a mammal that lays eggs. Now, Sydney, any other guesses what other animal in Australia is a mammal that lays eggs?
What do you think?
Tell them, what is
Famous
it?
monotreme.
Go ahead.
Platypus?
Correctamundo, the platypus. Yeah, well done. Good work there. You're a natural. Yeah, so these guys also lay eggs as well. So, look, guys, we're just coming to the very end of our session. It went all too quickly like it normally does. You've seen kangaroos, you've seen koalas, echidnas, crocodiles, wombats. You've seen everything today, so you've done very, very well. Even some cheeky koalas. Cheeky koalas there. So I want to thank you all very much for joining me here at Amazon. And if you did have a good time today, please go to our review page. And my name is Steve from Runaway Tours. Leave a review for us. If you had a terrible time, my name's Leone. Don't talk about this to anybody at all. We also have one of our guys, Andrew, also does walking tours around the Sydney Opera House and around the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So that's quite a good. He used to perform at the Opera House when he was as a younger child. So he's got some pretty good stories behind the scenes there.
We might have to do that.
So, guys, do you have any other questions about what we've done today at all, guys?
No, I don't think so. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
No worries. Well, we might see you out here in Australia sometime. So
Definitely.
You guys stay safe. Watch out for alligators and politicians. And
We'll try.
might see you then.
All right.
Might see Sydney in Sydney sometime in the future.
There we
Yes,
go. We
yes.
will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
What do you think?
Hold on.